Welcome back, everyone, to the Wedge 52 Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Wedge. Today's episode will be the Ravens versus Rams preview. The Ravens are coming off a bye, therefore there is no Ravens recap on the previous week. We did not lose, we did not win, we did not play. Before we jump into today's episode, please make sure you smash that follow button right here on Spotify, as well as check out the Instagram at Wedge52Gridiron. Go ahead and follow both of those and share both of those to your fellow NFL and Baltimore Ravens fans. Now let's jump into today's episode. Our next opponent, like I said, is the Los Angeles Rams. They will be facing the Rams on December 10th at M&T Bank Stadium. It will be a 1 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. The Rams are coming off a victory over divisional opponent, the Cleveland Browns, so that's good in terms of the AFC North division. The Rams took care of the Browns 36-19, moving into 6-6 on the season. Definitely good for the Rams. Big win for them as they are fighting for a wild card spot over in the NFC, as well as helping us out in the AFC North lead with the Steelers loss and the Browns loss. The Baltimore Ravens now have a two-game advantage over the AFC North. It's looking very good for the Ravens, especially with their tough schedule to close out the year, facing the Rams. And then they go to Jacksonville, San Francisco, Miami, and Pittsburgh Steelers to end up the end of the season there. So good to have that little cushion. Hopefully we don't need it, but definitely nice there. In that Rams versus Browns matchup, Matthew Stafford went 22 for 37, 279 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and no interceptions. Running back Kyren Williams had 28 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. Rookie wide receiver Puka Nacua, 4 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp, 6 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. Former Baltimore Raven Demarcus Robinson had 4 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. So that was kind of their offensive production. Very good offensive numbers against a Cleveland defense that has been very, very good all season. I'll get a little bit more into that in a minute here. And then for the Rams defense on Sunday versus the Browns, linebacker Ernest Johnson had 15 tackles. So definitely a player to watch out for this upcoming week as our Baltimore Ravens take the Rams on there. That Rams defense did very good, allowed the Cleveland offense to only 4 out of 12 third down conversions, as well as only allowing 87 rushing yards allowed to the number 3 ranked rushing attack in the Cleveland Browns prior to last week. So big performance by that Rams defense, who so far this season has been middle of the pack, statistically at least. They've been in quite a few ball games, in part because of their defense and offense. Both of them, I would say, are around the middle of the pack. Offense, maybe a little bit above the middle of the pack when all their guys are healthy. When Cooper Kupp's healthy, when Kyren Williams is healthy. I believe tight end Tyler Higbee is going to be questionable for that Sunday matchup with the Ravens. So definitely an important factor for the Rams there. We'll see how his injury status develops as the week goes on. As for the Ravens, as of right now, I think it's a clear injury slate. Marlon Humphrey has had the bye week. He was already close to returning. I do project that he'll be back in, as well as Matt Bike, who was dealing with a concussion just a little bit, concussion protocol in that Chargers game. I do believe he should be ready to go as well. Obviously, it's going to be another tough task, in a little bit of the second learning game for that Ravens offense and how to handle things without Mark Andrews. But it did look good against the Chargers. Another opportunity for the Ravens and Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson to kind of sort through that against a team that is not quite as, dominant. Obviously, the Rams not to be slept on at 6-6, fighting for a playoff spot. But, it's nice to not have to do that and worry about, how to go about not having, your number 1 tight end, number 2 tight end in the league against, a top 5 defense, so to say. So like I said, Rams 6-6, Baltimore Ravens 9-3. As for, previewing this matchup here. Ravens offensive ranks 7th in total yards at 380, just a 10th under that. So 379.9. Rush yards first in the league at 158.6. 7th in points at 27 points per game. And 7th in third down percentage success rate at 43.4. For that Rams offense, 13th in yards, total yards at 359.5. 15th in rushing yards at 114.5. 13th in points at 22.3. And 13th in third down success at 40.9. So like I said, right there in the middle of the pack, slightly above averages. A lot of those numbers pushing them, on the better side of the average comes with that offense having, fully loaded Cooper Kupp. Kyren Williams missed a few games. When they have both of those guys and Matthew Stafford's missed time even, when everyone's healthy, that Rams offense is, not an offense to be slept on, pushing, top 12 in terms of offensive ranks when they are healthy, which it is looking like they will be for the majority, except potentially Higbee. But he's kind of that next tier of guys. We've seen Tutu Atwell this season have a couple of good games for them, especially at the beginning of the year when Cooper Kupp was out. So he could be dangerous too. The Rams offense has some good pieces, has a solid quarterback in Matthew Stafford. He's, been around the league a long time, understands, the different, game managing, so to speak, kind of tactics in dealing with weapons and offensive talent that's potentially not as good as the defense they are facing. Matthew Stafford has been very good his whole career, doing the best he can with what he has around him. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Ravens second in total yards allowed, 305.1. Second in pass yards at just 171.1. First in points allowed at 15.6, and 8th in third downs allowed at 36.2%. Rams defense on the other side, 16th in total yards at 346.6, 15th in passing yards at 219.8, 15th in points at 21.1, and 19th in third downs allowed at 40% even. Definitely some key pieces. Of course, they have Aaron Donald back there. That's a scary piece always, regardless of his production on the stat sheets this season. If you look, it's not going to be as high as Aaron Donald's typical numbers, but they are looking nice. Aaron Donald is definitely a scary guy. And then of course linebacker Ernest Jones, like I previously mentioned, he's been making tackles all season. So that is kind of the basis of the Ravens and Rams offenses and defensive ranks. Now, just leading into my 3 keys for the game. These 3 things the Ravens should be looking to do to increase their chances of success on Sunday. Number 1 is going to be converting on third down. Ravens offense so far this season been very, very well, ranked 7th in the league on that. And the Rams defense has struggled, allowing 40% success rates to the opposing offense, which would be an acceptable number as the offensive standpoint to convert 2 out of 5. Obviously you'd prefer higher always, but 2 out of 5 can put you in a solid position, as well as going into that Rams defense, who only allowed 4 out of 12 in their previous matchup against the Browns, and kind of putting that to a stop, especially early on, getting rid of that, extra juice that the Rams defense might be feeling after coming off a very, very good game defensively. Second key to the game for the Baltimore Ravens is going to be stopping Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams has been very, very productive in his 8 games played so far this season. He has 10 total touchdowns in 8 games. I believe that's 7 rushing and 3 receiving, I want to say. And he averages 110 total yards per game. Kyren Williams has been balling out, this whole season. I believe he's been a HIM Performance of the Week candidate once or twice. He won a HIM Performance of the Week. So definitely a guy to watch out for. Kind of stop early on, make sure that, if you can take out Kyren Williams out of the game, shut him down, that'll be good signs for that Baltimore defense and the Baltimore Ravens' chances of getting the win on Sunday. And then my third key point of the game for the Baltimore Ravens is going to be protecting the ball. Going against the Rams team that is, what I would say mid to slightly above mid. That's the kind of team that you do not want to let hang around. That's the kind of team that if you let hang around, they will take advantage and get the victory over you. We cannot let them get extra possessions via fumbles or interceptions. And then kind of on the flip is that, why that's an emphasis for me right now, this week, coming off the bye, maybe they might start slow, might feel a little more loose with the football. They haven't played a game since, last week they're on the bye. So it's been nearly 2 weeks by the time the game starts. They need to be tight with the football, protect the ball, make smart decisions. Any extra possession you give to a team like the Rams, to a team with a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, they're eventually going to take advantage of that and potentially put themselves in a position to win the game. So that's all I have for the Ravens and Rams preview. Thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, please press that follow button once again. Thanks for listening, and go Ravens.